This video is about Isis Confronts set in the Duat until an ancient prophecy unfolds. If this myth excites you, please like the video, share it with friends, and write in the comments how it pulled you into the adventure. Part 1: The Confrontation of Isis and set in the Duat. In the shadowed realms of the Duat, where the sun's rays faltered and the echoes of the living faded into whispers, darkness gathered. The air shimmered with the weight of ancient spells, wrapping around the spirits of the damned like a shroud. It was here that the goddess Isis, resplendent in her wings of light and crowned with the sacred throne, sought retribution against her brother Set, the god of chaos and storms, whose heart was as twisted as the serpents that coiled around his obsidian staff. Isis had traversed the labyrinthine paths of the Duat, drawn by a fury ignited from the ashes of her beloved Osiris. She remembered the moment of betrayal, the jagged blade that had cleaved her husband's life from him, and it burned within her like a furnace. The memory of Osiris's laughter, once a melody that danced through the air, now echoed as a haunting dirge. To confront Set is to face despair itself, whispered the spirit of Nephthys, her sister and devoted ally, as they approached the threshold of Set's lair, a cavernous expanse that roared with the fury of 1,000 storms. "You must be careful, sister, he is a master of deceit." Isis nodded, her gaze fixed on the flickering shadows that danced across the cavern walls. "Deceit can be countered with truth. I will unveil the mask he wears." As they crossed the threshold adorned with the hieroglyphs of old, the air thickened with the scent of sulphur and dread. The ground trembled beneath them, leaden with the weight of forgotten souls. They moved like phantoms, each step resonating with the heartbeat of the Duat, a world caught between life and death, light and darkness. Suddenly, the atmosphere shifted, a tempest brewed, and from the recesses of the cavern, Set emerged. Cloaked in shadows, his eyes blazed like twin suns, fiery, piercing, and filled with malice. "Isis, sister," he sneered, his voice a low growl that vibrated through the stone. "Come to plead for the dead, or simply to witness the folly of your defiance?" "Folly? No, dear brother, I come to reclaim what you stole," Isis replied, her voice steady, though her heart quaked. "I will not falter in the face of your darkness." Set's laughter echoed, a sound like thunderclaps, reverberating against the walls. "You think yourself a beacon in this abyss, but I am the storm that will shatter your light." With a flick of his wrist, he summoned a swirling vortex of shadows, a tempest that tore through the air, aiming to engulf Isis and Nephthys. But with a wave of her hands, Isis summoned the sacred magic of motherhood and protection. Brilliant light radiated from her, pushing back the storm, illuminating the cave in a brilliant glow. "Your chaos holds no power here," Isis declared, standing firm against the onslaught of Set's malignance. As the two gods clashed, the Duat transformed into a battlefield, a realm where light and darkness intertwined, creating a symphony of chaos. Shadows writhed and screamed as they battled, twisting and contorting, while the very fabric of existence trembled under their fury. Set unleashed his monstrous forms, creatures born from nightmares, serpents with scales like polished obsidian, and jackals with eyes of fire. With each hiss and growl, they lunged toward Isis, teeth bared, seeking to feast upon her radiant essence. Yet, with every strike, Isis summoned the strength of her love for Osiris, channeling it into a brilliant beam of light that fractured the shadowy beasts. "Your minions will not claim me," she cried, her voice a clarion call of defiance. Nephthys stood beside her, weaving protective spells that enveloped them like a shield. "Sister, the Duat is alive. The ancient spirits watch. We must invoke the prophecy." "The prophecy?" Isis murmured, her heart racing. "It speaks of a reckoning, of a moment when light would rise from the depths of despair." As Set thrashed with rage, his monstrous horde destroyed, the very earth trembled beneath him. "Prophecy, they are lies woven by the foolish. I am your destiny, sister, I am the storm that will consume all." But in that moment, as the Duat writhed in chaos, life flickered in the darkness, not merely the light of Isis, but something more profound. It was the essence of Osiris himself, his spirit refusing to fade into oblivion, calling forth the strength of the earth to aid his beloved. Isis echoed Osiris' voice, a loving whisper that transcended the shadows. "You are never alone. Fight with my heart, and together we shall rise." With renewed vigor, Isis closed her eyes, focusing on their bond. She invoked the ancient symbol of the Ankh, a staff glowing with life, its power flowing through her veins. The cavern erupted in a riot of colors, the brilliance of life against the oppressive darkness. "Together we shall rise," Isis yelled, unleashing a torrent of radiant energy that surged towards Set. The very essence of the Duat responded, the shadows recoiling as if burned by the light. Set roared, a sound that shook the foundations of the Duat. "You dare challenge me with the memory of a dead king? I am the embodiment of chaos. I shall not be defeated." But at that moment, the prophecy began to unfold. From the depths of the Duat, the spirits that had long lain dormant stirred, rallying to Isis' side. The whispers of the ancient dead filled the air, chanting her name, their voices weaving a tapestry of destiny. Isis, Isis, Isis. They echoed, a wave of power crashing against Set's chaos, pushing him back, forcing him to confront the legacy he had so callously shattered. Enough! Set screamed, his form flickering between shadows and light as he struggled against the rising tide. I am Set, I will not cower before the light. Then face the light. Isis roared back, her voice unwavering, as she thrust the ankh forward, its light piercing through the darkness, illuminating the cavern and revealing the true nature of Set's heart. In that heart lay fear of being forgotten, of being swallowed by his own chaos. The shadows shrieked as they recoiled from Isis' radiance, and for the first time Set faltered. Do you not see? Isis pleaded, her voice softer now, a beacon of compassion amidst the storm. You are more than this chaos, brother. You were once the guardian of the sun, the protector of life. Embrace your destiny. Set hesitated, his eyes flaring with turmoil. I was betrayed, cast aside by those who sought light. I am the darkness, the only truth. And yet, you are also a god, Nephthys interjected, stepping forward. You can choose, Set. You can reclaim your honor, or remain a shadow of what you once were. The battle raged on, but the tide had shifted. The ancient prophecy unfolded, revealing the path forward, the path of redemption or destruction. The spirits of the Duat swirled around them, eager to witness the outcome. With each passing moment, Set felt the chains of his own despair loosen, the tendrils of darkness that had ensnared him slipping away. I have been lost, he murmured, confusion and rage battling within him. To join me, Isis extended her hand, the light of the ankh pulsating with hope and power. Together, we can restore balance to the Duat and heal the wounds that our conflict has wrought. But the decision weighed heavily upon him, and as the echoes of the past melded with the present, the true battle for Set's heart began, one that would determine the fate of gods and men alike. The Duat held its breath, waiting for the dawn of a new destiny, as darkness and light faced each other in an epic stand of one that would lead to unforeseen consequences and a future shaped by the choices made in this moment of reckoning. The ancient prophecy was but a whisper now, yet it carried the weight of eternity, setting the stage for a confrontation that would echo through the ages. And as the storm raged on, the true nature of family was tested, revealing the depths of betrayal and the heights of honor. The stage was set, and the hearts of the gods hung in the balance, waiting for the next move in this eternal game of fate. Part 2, The Unfolding Prophecy. As the air crackled with tension, the storm that raged within Set mirrored the fury of the Duat itself. The spirits, once shackled by despair, now soared alongside Isis and Nephthys, a chorus of hope against the chaos that threatened to engulf them all. Set stood at the precipice of a choice that would etch itself into the annals of myth. Choose, Set. Isis' voice rang out, a clarion call echoing through the darkened caverns, every syllable infused with the weight of love and sorrow. Will you embrace the light, or will you remain trapped in your self-imposed abyss? Set's countenance twisted, rage and regret warring within him like the maelstrom he commanded. His eyes burned with the fires of 1,000 storms, but beneath that veneer of malice flickered something soft, a memory of the brother who had once danced with suns. I was robbed of my glory. Light is a curse that blinds and chains. He clenched his fists, chaos swirling around him like a tempest, threatening to rip the very fabric of the Duat. The glory lies not in dominance, but in harmony, Nephthys interjected, her voice calm like the stillness before dawn. You can still find redemption, Set. You need only to reach for it. The shadows roared in response, ancient forces swirling and howling, whispering of betrayal and revenge. From the depths of the cavern, monstrous forms stirred, summoned by Set's anguish, a legion of nightmares, slithering serpents and ravenous jackals, eager to defend their master against the encroaching light. But the very fabric of the Duat trembled at the resounding cries of the spirits rallying behind Isis. Together, we are stronger than this chaos, they chanted, their ethereal forms glowing brighter, weaving a tapestry of power that surged outward like a shockwave against the darkness. Face them, Isis commanded, her heart racing as she positioned herself between the advancing nightmare horde and her brother. Show them the strength of your heart. With a mighty gesture, Isis summoned the essence of the Duat, the memories of the fallen, the hopes of the living. The ankh she wielded pulsed with radiant energy, illuminating the cavern and casting shadows that danced like phantoms. By the power of the ancient spirits, I call upon the light of Osiris, rise, my love, and lend us your strength. And in answer, the very ground beneath them quaked, resonating with a potent force. From the shadows, Osiris' spirit emerged, a luminous figure clad in the hues of dawn, an echo of the love that bound him to Isis. "Fear not, my beloved, together we shall mend what was broken." As the spectral figure reached towards Set, the tumultuous storm surrounding him began to falter. Set staggered, caught off guard by the display of unity and love that refused to relent. "You stand against me with memories. I am Set, I am the storm," he bellowed, his voice reverberating through the chamber. "Indeed, you are a storm." Osiris' voice resonated with authority, "but storms can be calmed. You do not have to drown in chaos, Brada. Embrace your true self, the guardian you once were." Set faltered, his eyes flickering between the blazing light of Isis and the ethereal presence of Osiris. The shadows called around him, restless, their whispers growing louder, filled with promises of power and vengeance. "You speak of guardianship, yet you both have betrayed me. The light has cast me aside." Isis shook her head, tears shimmering in her eyes like stars in the void. "No, Set, we have not betrayed you. It was the darkness that turned you away from us, but it does not have to claim you. Your light is a burden." Set thundered, fighting against the compelling force of their words. "It blinds me to the truth." "Then let this be your truth." Nephthys stepped forward, her hands raised, channeling the energy of the spirits. "Feel the warmth of your past, the love that once surrounded you, but it's not too late." With those words, the spirit surged forward, a tide of shimmering light that collided with the shadows, illuminating the cavern in a riot of colors. Set's monstrous horde recoiled, confusion seeping into their ranks. The Duat quaked, a battleground not just of flesh, but of souls. "Isis, Nephthys." Set's roar echoed, a mixture of fury and desperation. "You know not what you ask of me, to embrace this light is to face my past, my failures." But as the light intensified, fragments of his own memories began to flicker before him, days spent in laughter, the bond of brotherhood forged beneath the sun. The warmth of family had once been his, and though the chaos clamored for dominance, the flickers of light within him began to awaken. "Remember who you are," Isis urged, her voice piercing through the storm. "You are not merely the embodiment of chaos, but a protector of the cosmos. Let your heart guide you." As shadows lashed out, Set fought against the tide of emotion rising within him, his breath coming in ragged gasps. The monstrous forms around him writhed, sensing the shift in their master. "I am chaos, I am." But doubt gnawed at him like a ravenous beast. In that moment of hesitation, Isis surged forward, her hands outstretched, the ant glowing with sacred light. "Then let chaos be reshaped into creation. Embrace your destiny. Set, stand with us." The storm within him raged, but as he looked into the eyes of his sister, he saw not just defiance, but love, a love that sought to pull him from the brink. "You would forgive me?" Set's voice cracked with uncertainty, echoing through the cavern like a fragile hope. "Always," Isis breathed, a gentle smile breaking through the tension. "But you must choose." In that fleeting moment, the clash of destinies reached a crescendo, and Set, torn between the shadows of his past and the light of his future, felt the chains that bound him begin to unravel. The tempest roared around him, but within that tempest he glimpsed the dawn. "Enough," he shouted, his voice echoing powerfully against the cavern walls. "I choose to rise." With that proclamation, the shadows recoiled from Set, and in a brilliant burst of light, he thrust forth his hand, channeling the power of the Duat as the storm of chaos melded with the brilliance of creation. The cavern erupted in a cataclysm of energy, a maelstrom of light and darkness intertwining. The spirits swirled around them, their voices lifting like a hymn, as Set, now transformed, stood at the precipice of a new dawn. "I am Set, and I am reborn." As the tempest subsided, the echoes of past grievances began to fade. Set's form radiated with both chaos and light, a balance forged in the crucible of love and loss. The monstrous forms that had once served him now dissipated into shadows, their power relinquished. With the prophecy fulfilled, Isis and Nephthys stepped closer to Set, who now wore the weight of his duality with honor. "Together, we shall restore order to the Duat," Isis declared, her heart swelling with pride. "We are stronger united than apart." Set nodded, the storm within him now a gentle breeze, whispering of new beginnings. "Let us forge a new legacy, one that embraces both light and darkness." As they stood together, the Duat shimmered around them, a realm once plagued by discord now bathed in the warm hues of dawn. The ancient spirits rejoiced, their voices intertwining in a celestial song, celebrating the rebirth of balance within the cosmos. But unbeknownst to them, in the shadows of the Duat, a new threat stirred, watching from the depths of being forged of darkness that sought to disrupt the harmony they had fought so valiantly to reclaim. The winds of fate had shifted, and the next chapter of their saga was only beginning. With hearts renewed and destinies entwined, Set, Isis, and Nephthys stood united against an uncertain horizon, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead in this mythic world, one where honor, sacrifice, and the bonds of family would shape the future of gods and mortals alike. Part 3: The Trials of the Duat. The remnants of chaos swirled like fading mist around the newly reborn Set, a tempest transformed into a gentle breeze. The light of dawn broke through the shadows of the Duat, illuminating the once terrifying cavern, now a sanctuary of hope. Isis stepped closer, the warmth of her spirit enveloping them all. "We have triumphed, brother," she whispered, her voice a melody of love and strength. Yet, lurking in the corners of their victory, the ancient prophecy still loomed, a reminder that the journey was far from over. Nephthys, sensing the undercurrents of unease, peered into the depths of the cavern where darkness still clung. "The Duat is restless. Our victory has awakened forces that should remain undisturbed," she warned, her brow furrowed in concern. Set's gaze turned serious, the weight of his rebirth heavy upon him. "Then we must confront whatever lies ahead together. I will not allow my past to shackle me again." "Then let it be so," Isis proclaimed, determination radiating from her like the sun rising over the horizon. "We shall face the trials of the Duat and ensure that balance is restored, not just for us, but for the entire realm." As they ventured deeper into the Duat, the very ground beneath their feet pulsed with energy, a heartbeat that resonated with the essence of both life and death. The air shimmered, charged with ancient power, each breath they took a reminder of the lives they had saved and the battles yet to come. Suddenly, an ominous rumble echoed through the caverns, shaking the very foundation of their resolve. From the shadows, a colossal figure emerged, a being forged from pure darkness, cloaked in obsidian scales that glinted like stars in the night sky. It towered over them, its eyes glowing red like embers in a dying fire. "Fools," the creature snarled, its voice a deep growl that reverberated like thunder. "You think you've triumphed. Your light is but a flicker against the expanse of true power." The being was Apet, the ancient serpent of chaos, and his return marked a dire threat to the fragile peace they had just forged. "I will consume your light and plunge the Duat into eternal darkness." Isis stepped forward, the ankh pulsing in her hand. "You shall not succeed, Apet. With the strength of our bond, we will vanquish you. Your bond is nothing." Apet roared, launching himself forward with blinding speed, his serpentine form coiling to strike. Set reacted instinctively, raising his hands, channeling the energies of chaos and the light that now dwelled within him. "Stand firm," he shouted, as he projected a barrier of shimmering energy that absorbed Apet's attack. The impact reverberated through the air, a shockwave that sent a cascade of rocks tumbling, but Set held steadfast. "We can overcome him," he urged, glancing at Isis and Nephthys, who were preparing their own spells. "Together," Isis called, her voice rising above the chaos. "On my mark." With a fierce cry, Isis wove her magic, summoning the spirits of the Duat, their ethereal forms swirling around her, amplifying her power. "By the sacred love of Osiris, I command you." Nephthys joined in, her incantation melding seamlessly with her sister S. "Let the light of the fallen guide us, let love conquer all." As their magic entwined, a radiant beam erupted, striking Apep directly in the chest. The serpent screamed in rage, coiling around the energy, attempting to absorb it. "You think you can bind me with love?" he howled. "I am chaos incarnate. I thrive in despair." But in that moment, Set felt the ancient bond of brotherhood surge within him, a reminder of what he had once fought for. "No, Apep, you do not understand the power of unity," he bellowed, channeling the currents of chaos he could now control. He thrust his palms forward, unleashing an amalgamation of light and dark that enveloped Apep in a swirling vortex. With a furious roar, Apep writhed, struggling against the binding energies. "You will pay for this insolence. I will consume your very essence." "Not today," Nephthys declared, her voice fierce, resonating with the weight of their united strength. "We are the guardians of balance now, and you shall not prevail." Together, their powers converged, forming a blinding sphere of energy. Apep's form twisted and contorted, the shadows around him dissipating like smoke. "No, this cannot be," he screeched, panic lacing his voice. In a final, desperate act of defiance, Apep unleashed a torrent of dark energy, hurling it toward them. "I will take you all with me." Isis, in a moment of clarity, stepped forward, her heart ablaze with love and determination. "We will not be broken. We are the light that can pierce the darkness." She thrust the ankh forward, its light intensifying, transforming into a beacon that illuminated every shadow. The energy exploded outward, crashing into Apep with catastrophic force. The cavern shook violently, walls cracking under the strain. "You are nothing." Set roared, channeling the last vestiges of his power. You cannot stand against unity. And with that, the combined force of their love and strength shattered Apep's darkness, engulfing him in a brilliant flash of light. The serpent screeched as he was consumed by the radiant energies, his form collapsing in on itself until nothing remained but echoes of despair and a thin wail that faded into silence. As the dust settled, the chamber fell eerily quiet, the aftermath of the battle lingering like a heavy fog. Set, breathless and trembling, looked at his sister and Nephthys, a swell of pride and relief washing over him. We did it, together. Isis smiled through her tears, stepping forward to embrace him. You have embraced your true self, Set. We are forever intertwined now, not just as siblings, but as heroes of the Duat. Nephthys joined their embrace, her heart swelling with hope. This victory is but the beginning. We must safeguard the balance we fought so fiercely to restore. But as they stood united, basking in the remnants of their triumph, the air around them began to shift again. A chill swept through the cavern, and the shadows that had dissipated began to coalesce once more, forming into shapes that were all too familiar. Foolish gods, the voice echoed through the darkness, deep and booming. You may have vanquished Apep, but you have awakened greater evils. The Duat is alive, and it remembers. Out of the shadows emerged a legion of spirits, their faces twisted in anguish, remnants of those who had fallen in battles past. A dark mist swirled around them, and their eyes glowed with a thirst for vengeance. Who dares defy us? One of the spirits hissed, stepping forward. You think you can claim the Duat as your own? We shall reclaim what was lost. Isis stepped back, her heart racing as she recognized the ancient souls that had once been guardians of the realm before their fall. No, we seek to restore balance. We honor your memory, not seek to replace it. But the spirits were relentless, swirling around them like a tempest. You are not worthy, you are but children of the light, and we shall extinguish your flame. With a wave of their hands, the spirits unleashed a torrent of dark energy, a wave that threatened to engulf the three gods. Death, his heart pounding, summoned his newfound power, merging it with Isis' light and Nephthys' wisdom. We will not falter, we are united. As the energies clashed, the air crackled with electricity, each side vying for dominance. The cavern became an arena of light and shadow, the very fabric of the Duat shimmering under their fierce conflict. Stand firm, Isis cried, channeling the spirits of the fallen to guide their strength. We fight not just for ourselves, but for all those who have lost their way. Nephthys, with her hand raised, called upon the wisdom of the ages. Remember who you are. You once stood as guardians. Join us, not against us. The spirits hesitated for a brief moment, confusion flickering in their eyes. Guardians, we were betrayed. Our duty was lost to the sands of time. But we seek to restore honor. Set interjected, his voice resolute. Stand with us, and together we can reclaim the Duat from the shadows that threaten to consume it. As the battle raged on, the spirits began to waver, the light of hope battling against the darkness of despair. In that moment of conflict, Set felt a flicker of understanding spark within him. Embrace the legacy you left behind. Together, we can change the fate of the Duat. The spirits' forms flickered, wavering between chaos and unity. Could it be, one whisper, uncertainty creeping into their voices? Perhaps we can reclaim what? Hush Hush Part 4, The Reckoning of the Duat. As the echoes of the fallen spirits reverberated through the cavern, the atmosphere crackled with tension. The walls shimmered with ancient glyphs, their meanings hidden under layers of darkness and despair. The spirits' glowing eyes reflected torment and yearning an unquenchable thirst for resolution and vengeance. The once mighty guardians of the Duat, lost amidst the waves of chaos, began to swell restlessly around Set, Isis, and Nephthys, their forms flickering between the realms of the living and the dead. You dare stand against us, one of the spirits hissed, its voice laced with bitterness. We were cast aside, the light you cling to is but a shadow of our former glory. Isis stepped forward, her heart aching at the sight of the lost souls, remnants of a time when they had fought valiantly to protect the balance. We honor your legacy. We do not seek to extinguish your flame, but to rekindle it. Her voice rang with sincerity, a plea for understanding amidst the turmoil. Honor, the war spirit, once clad in resplendent armor, sneered. You speak of honor while bringing chaos to our realm. You have awakened the depths of our anguish. He raised the spectral sword, its edge glinting ominously. We shall reclaim the Duat from your hands. Set's eyes narrowed, a mix of determination and compassion flooding his being. I know your pain, he called out, his voice steady as he summoned the energies of both chaos and light. I was lost too, not just to the darkness, but to my own fear. But I stand before you, united with my sisters, ready to restore balance through our shared strength. The spirits hesitated, their forms flickering like candle flames. You do not understand, one cried out, anguish woven into its words. We were betrayed by the light we protected. We fell into despair, forgotten and scorned as mere shadows. Nephthys stepped forth, her voice a soothing balm against the tumult. Then let us remember together. Let us not repeat the mistakes of the past. Come forth, embrace the light and dark that coexist within us. Her hands glowed with an ethereal light, weaving an intricate tapestry of energy that stretched toward the spirits. As her magic enveloped them, the spirits began to shift, confusion mingling with a glimmer of hope. They hesitated, caught between the desire for revenge and the yearning for restoration. Can we trust you? One spirit asked, its voice trembling. What if the light is merely a facade, a trap for our vengeance? Isis nodded, taking a step closer. Trust is forged in unity. We can fight the true enemy together, the darkness that seeks to tear us apart. She raised the ankh high, its brilliance illuminating the cavern, casting shadows that danced around them. But the spirits were not so easily swayed. Enough of this, the warrior spirit roared, charging forward, the air around him crackling with dark energy. We will obliterate you, and reclaim the Duat as our own. He swung his spectral sword, a vortex of darkness trailing in its wake. Set moved instinctively, conjuring a barrier of shimmering energy around them. Stand together, do not let fear drive us apart, he cried, as the impact of the spiritess attack reverberated through the chamber, rattling the very foundations of the Duat. As the clash of energy erupted around them, Nephthys called upon the ancient echoes of the Duat, her voice rising above the chaos. Remember who you are, you were guardians, you fought for the light and the balance, find that strength within you. With her words, the energies began to shift, the spirits faltering in their assault. The whispers of the fallen echoed back to them memories of battles fought side by side, of love and camaraderie that had once defined their existence. We were one whispered, its foam wavering between the shadows and the light. Together we shall rise again. Set bellowed, channeling the very essence of the Duat, the swirling energies around him coalescing into a radiant beam. Join us, and let this moment be a beacon of hope. You need not remain shackled to anger. With a sudden surge of purpose, the spirits hesitated, their swords lowering as they faced the trio of gods. In that moment, their forms began to shimmer, flickering with uncertainty. We have lost so much, the warrior spirit said, pain evident in its ethereal voice. What if we cannot return? Isis stepped forward, extending her hand. You can, your legacy does not end in vengeance, but in redemption. Stand with us. Her heart surged with emotion, her love for her brother and the spirits intertwining like threads of fate. And then, as if compelled by the force of her words, the spirits converged, their forms coalescing into a swirling mass of light and darkness. We will trust this time, murmured the warrior spirit, its voice barely above a whisper as the energy began to meld with the trio. The cavern erupted in a blinding brilliance, a convergence of light and shadow as the spirits joined forces with Set, Isis, and Nephthys. Together, they channeled the energies of the Duat, forging a bond stronger than the chains of despair that had threatened to bind them. From the depths of the cavern emerged Apep's voice, a low growl that echoed ominously. You think you have won? There are greater evils lurking still. Face us, if you dare. Set shouted defiantly, his voice shaking the very stones around them. The air vibrated with ancient power, a reminder that they were no longer alone in this fight. As the shadows writhed, Apep's form took shape, the ancient serpent emerging from the darkness, pulsating with chaotic energy. You think you are worthy to challenge me? I am the embodiment of chaos, and I shall consume your light. The winds howled as Apep lunged, a massive coil of darkness aimed directly at them. But together, the united force of gods and spirits stood firm, their combined energies swirling in a magnificent display of hope and defiance. Now! Isis cried, her voice resonating with the power of the ankh. Let our light pierce the darkness. With a mighty surge, they unleashed a torrent of energy, a radiant beam that collided with Apep, illuminating the chamber once more. The serpent roared, a sound of fury and fear as the light engulfed him, intertwining with the shadows in a battle that shook the very fabric of existence. Nephthys raised her hands high, summoning the spirit's energy to amplify their attack. Remember your strength, we are the guardians of the balance, she cried, her voice echoing through the storm of chaos. As the energies clashed, Apep writhed in agony, the shadows recoiling from the light. You cannot defeat me, he bellowed, struggling against the converging forces. I will consume all. But you will not consume this. Set shouted, channeling all the power he had within him, the strength of his rebirth intertwining with the spirit's longing for redemption. You are but a shadow of what you once were. The blinding light surged forward, a radiant torrent that consumed Apep, his form twisting and contorting. No, this cannot be, he shrieked as the energies enveloped him. pulling him into a vortex of brilliance that swallowed the darkness whole. With a final roar of defiance, Apep's form dissipated, shadows scattering like leaves in a storm. The cavern trembled with the force of their victory, the Duat reverberating with the cries of triumph from the spirits now free from their shackles. As the dust settled, the cavern glowed with a newfound light, the darkness receding in the face of their collective strength. Set, Isis, and Nephthys stood together, their hearts swelling with pride and gratitude. "We did it," Set breathed, glancing at his sisters, their bond unbreakable. "We have restored the balance of the Duat." Isis smiled, tears of joy shimmering in her eyes. "Together, we have forged a new legacy. The darkness no longer controls us, we are the light that will guide the future." Nephthys nodded, her heart full. "We have embraced our truths and the legacies of those who came before us. Let us honor them by safeguarding this balance." As the spirits soared through the cavern, their faces now radiating peace and joy, the echoes of the Duat began to sing a new song, one of hope, redemption, and the eternal dance between light and darkness. But as the dawn broke, a new threat loomed on the horizon. From the edges of the Duat, whispers of an ancient force stirred, a being of unfathomable power, watching their every move, waiting for the moment to strike. Yet the three gods stood resolute, united against the trials that lay ahead. Bound by love, sacrifice, and honor, their destinies intertwined, they prepared to face whatever darkness threatened to rise anew, ready to defend the fragile harmony they had fought so hard to reclaim in this mythic world. And as the winds of fate blew through the Duat, they knew one truth remained: together, they could overcome anything.